Hi, 2D Foundations folks. Welcome back, and thank you so much for the work you did. From what I could glean from talking to you guys online, a lot of people are, if not all the way done with this guy, then really, really close. And like I said, whenever you get it done, I know you have other things to do. Just start on the next step. Then that's what the great thing about these videos is that you have the time to kind of pick away at these. But if you're ready to move on, and it sounded like a lot of people were, what we want to do now is we want to take what we planned on here and make a showpiece out of it. You know, this worksheet's great for learning, and it shows that you know the different color schemes, but it's not something exactly that we want to hang on a wall. So thinking in terms of art show and stuff like that, it'd be nice to kind of create something that we could, show or at least put in a frame or display somewhere. So what we want to do is that's why we turned this into a sketch. So this is going to be our sketch for our big paper. Now you may notice, you may say, well, geez, Mr. D, based on what's going on with your hands there, this paper is a lot smaller than what you gave us. The 12 by 12 guy would not fit underneath my camera, so I had to size down a little bit. I want you to pretend that this guy is that big 12 by 12 piece of paper that I gave you before we left. If you don't have that, I can leave one up at the high school for you and you can come get it. All you have to do is say, hey, Mr. D, I need this, and I'll put it in a bag with your name on it, and you can go get it. But anyway, what you might be wondering on this is how we're going to fold it into 6 sections, because clearly we have 6 different sections here that we want to make a design out of. And we want to make a radial design, which means it comes out of the middle and goes out. It's easy to fold a square into quadrants or, multiples of 4, but it gets a little trickier when you want to do 6. So what we're going to do is actually make more than 6. We're going to make 12 and then just add sections together. Because one thing I do know, and if you had me when you were in elementary, you know this, is I can fold a snowflake like nobody's business. And the nice thing about the snowflake is that you end up with 12 sections. So we're going to do this, we're just not cutting a snowflake into it. If you already have a line down the middle, just flatten it out as best you can. It'll be fine. It really doesn't matter. The new folds you make will be way more pronounced and easier to see. So what we're going to do to get 6 sections on here is we're actually going to take our big square paper, and you're going to fold it corner to corner, kind of like you see this fold right here. The reason I have mine is because I had to cut it from a sheet of copy paper. So I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to fold over here, and this is going to be my first fold, okay? Nice crisp fold there, okay? So now I've got my right triangle. I'm going to turn this guy this way now, a little easier to see, and I'm going to bring the 2 far apart corners together. So I'm going to hold onto this here, bring this guy over here, line it up, and as you fold you may get some crinkles. Just kind of stick your hand in there and flatten them out as best you can. But now we have another right triangle, just a smaller one. Okay, now here's where things get a little tricky. Now we're folding into thirds. So here's what we had. I'm going to turn it this way again so it looks like the roof of a house. And we're going to take this corner here and we're going to bring it over past the bottom edge to right about here. Okay, what's going to happen is that's going to be about 2/3 of the way across. If you imagine this in thirds, we'll have 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. So right about here is where we're going to bring this corner. I like to put an index finger up top here. It helps me hold on. We're going to grab this side here, bring it over and down. And when you see equal space here, like this gap is the same as this one. Oh, sorry, I got a little too much light on there. Just trust me, there's a fold line there. This gap's the same as that one right there. Then I know I've got 2 equal sections. I'm just going to give that a crease. And you want this fold to come from the tip. If you fold it and it's way over here, you may have to go through and refold that again. Now that we're getting a bunch of folds in here, I'm going to press really hard on all my fold lines just to make sure I can actually see those creases and they're stronger than any I may have had in there originally. Okay, so now don't open it just yet. You can see it kind of looks like this. Here I can tilt it from the side, it makes it a little easier to see. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this guy and flip him upside down. Right now, you can see he's got 2 small equal-sized triangles here. I want to flip it over so that now I see a giant triangle here and a small one sticking out from underneath. So what I'm going to do now is the exact same thing. I'm going to put my index finger here. I'm going to grab this one out here, the corner of the big guy, and bring it over this way. Okay. And you may notice it fits inside a little bit. That's okay. It's still fairly close. We're going to give it a nice crease right there. There we go. I'm a little off of my point there. That's not horrible. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this guy back up. There we go. And now we have, if I hold down here and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Awesome. Okay, so what you're going to do then is you're going to want to divide this up into 6 sections, okay? So we can just kind of go around and count by twos. It doesn't really matter where you start because you're going to end up with sort of the same thing anyway. So basically I'm going to lightly, and I'm not doing it lightly, but it shows up on the camera better this way. You do it lightly. I'm going to trace over every other one. So trace this one, skip this guy. Trace this one, skip this guy. I'm going to keep going around just like that. Skip that guy, trace this guy. You don't have to be super neat because you'll probably be erasing and doing other things on there too. Skip this guy. There we go. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections to match my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections here. Okay. In each one you planned, unless you were me and you just pretended to, you planned out Zentangle patterns. Of course, this is a far cry from a rectangle. So what you're going to have to do is just say, okay, I know this is what I want to have on here. How am I going to do it over here? A couple cool things you can do. There's nothing wrong with going over the edge on some. So if you want to like alter these lines a little bit, that could be kind of fun too. I don't have an eraser handy, but I could erase in between there and then put my designs over top. We could say this guy maybe goes around here or something like that. Have a little fun with this design. You can cut away parts of it. You don't have to have this entire thing looking like a square. So maybe I'll put some little flame tops on here or something like that. There we go. That'd be an interesting end for that guy. I can always cut this off over here. And then figure out what I want the rest of my design to look like. I'll get my strings going on through here. Looks like I had a curve going over there. Maybe something interesting coming over here. And you can alter your designs too. If they worked out well on your worksheet, but you thought of a different idea in between, there's something wrong with that. So then maybe in here, I see that I've got this tipple pattern here. So I'll start over here, adding that guy in. Vary the size of my circles a little bit here. And then the next guy over here is the one I started on earlier. We can finish drawing that guy in there. There we go. And then on the next one down, that was the very geometric guy. So let's say I finished that guy up there. And then we start drawing on this guy over here. This guy was very geometric, so we're going to put in some angles here. I still kind of want to take away some on the outside, so maybe I'll leave some blank. Maybe I'll cut this away over here. Yeah, throw one more little guy in there. That looks like we've got a nice floors pattern here. Kind of go through and shade those guys in. Lightly, of course, because I'm going to paint in them later. Painters, those of you who have been waiting patiently going, when are we going to start painting? Just keep being patient. We're getting this set up. The next stage of the game after this will be painting. So on each one of these, then, I'm going to go through, I'm going to put those designs in here. Like I said, on the outside, if I want to get a little creative here, I can always take my scissors and I could cut the outside off. Got a little visual interest here. Of course, I would do this when I actually finish the piece, but I don't want to waste your time either, so cut that guy off there, make this here. I'll just skip around a little bit so I'm not eating up your time and you're not just watching me cut. I always cut away the inside too. Just to kind of make the outside a little more interesting than just a square or a rhombus if you're thinking of it that way. So let's say you made it all the way around, and I'm going to put something extra under here. I got another one of these just to make sure my marker doesn't bleed through onto my countertop. And this is the very last stage before you paint. So let's say you got everything done. You have all your Zentangles that you planned out on your worksheet. They've all made it onto this guy. take a permanent marker, okay? Hopefully you grabbed yours from school. If you don't, ask around. I'll bet there's something permanent laying around the house. What you want to do is you want to trace over all your lines. And that way, when you go to do your painting, they stay put. Make sure you're not using a Crayola or anything like that. Anything water-based will definitely bleed when you hit them with the watercolors. And any shading that you may have indicated in there, if it's a hatching mark or something, great. Or if you've got a fill-in, that's fine. Nothing wrong with a few fill-ins here and there. But we want it to be primarily painting, so try to limit how much fill-in you do and save a good chunk of room for painting. But something like this isn't bad because I can always put the color in between there too. So anyway, that's that. That was a lot of steps all at once. So if anything was confusing about that, please let me know. And then we'll get you caught up to speed on that. Don't forget, you can always hit me up on email, on chat, on video call. Whatever works best for you is fine by me. At any rate, once we get to about Wednesday, we'll probably start talking about how to paint these. And I will have a finished one this time so you can actually see what that'll look like with some paint on it. Okay? Thanks very much for watching, and happy drawing and possibly cutting.